Hello and welcome back to The Art of Selling. I am so excited to do this episode. I know quite a lot of you have messaged being like, where's Monday's episode? It hasn't come out yet. And I firstly just want to say that I'm really sorry. It's part of building this podcast and part of recording this was that I really wanted to tap into my creativity and I wanted it to feel authentic. And normally I record these a week in advance. And last week, nothing was coming to me. I couldn't think of anything that was really meaningful that I really wanted to talk about. And it got to Monday and I hadn't recorded anything. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm not gonna stress about it. I'm just gonna, something will come. And it wasn't until I was on my walk this morning. I went to the gym and I went on a really lovely walk with me and Margot, and this idea just came to me and I was like, oh my God, this is what I need to record. This is what I need to talk about. So I just sat down an hour ago and wrote this. And this is basically the way my brain thinks. I physically have to have something that actually means something in order to be able to deliver it. It has to come from the heart for me. I can't just be given a script and do it. I have to really, really believe what I'm saying and I have to really want to do it. So yeah, this episode is coming out now and there will obviously always be weekly episodes. It just may not be on the exact same day. I always said it would be a Monday, but I think it really depends how your brain is feeling. And this week I'm actually celebrating something really exciting in my own personal journey, in my own business. Hit 10,000 followers on Instagram, which I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of. And I know that it may not seem like a huge number, but for me, that is a big number because I actually had this on my vision board last year, didn't hit it. I remember it got to New Year's Eve. We were actually in Egypt last year for New Year's Eve and I didn't hit it and I was really gutted. I was so gutted. I was like, damn it. There were a few things I did hit on my vision board, a few things that ended up coming true at the beginning of the year, but that one didn't. It's taken an extra 7 months to hit it. I was just so busy and so focused on my own clients, their scaling, their growth, that I genuinely didn't put the work into my own brand and my own business. Then I hit 10,000 and I was just like, oh my God, I've done it. And I'm so happy. I remember I said to myself, I'm going to hit 10,000 followers this year. That is the intention and I'm going to show up to make sure that happens. It's not just going to sit on my board anymore. It's going to be the truth. And I'm going to do the work. I'm going to show up consistently. I'm going to do everything that I teach my clients every single day. I've had clients that have got to 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, 1 million plus, 20K followers. I've helped people grow businesses and personal brands, but I wasn't doing it for myself. And I had to stop making excuses. And I was like, right, I can do this. And I did it. I did it this week. It was the coolest thing. It was a few tears were shed. It was such an amazing moment for me. And this is what sparked this episode today, because I had this goal for 2 years. I had this vision board both years, but the difference between that last year and this year and that gap was the actions that I was willing to take. And that is what this episode is all about, the actual actions that it takes to be able to not just have a pretty vision board, to actually achieve the goals that you want to get. So welcome to The Art of Selling. I'm Chloe, and this show exists for one reason: to change the way that we as women sell. So if you're a woman who's ready to get dangerously good at sales without losing yourself in the process, you are absolutely in the right place. So I want to start by talking about a particular moment that happened with a client recently that I've been working with. We've been doing a lot of coaching together. I've been coaching her for a while now, helping her with sort of scaling, growing sales, getting more visibility, attracting more clients into her business. She is genuinely absolutely insane at what she does. She's incredible and she has the most beautiful business. It's absolutely gorgeous. And she also has massive goals for what she wants to achieve in her life and her business. And, she's wants to hit 1 million. She wants like revenue. She wants her business to be like wildly successful. And I truly believe that she will do it. I actually know in my heart that she will. I absolutely know it. But something came up on our call recently, one of our coaching calls, and it was, she actually ended up getting quite emotional, and what came out was this fear of being seen. Obviously I was saying, right, okay, we need to do this and this, and unbeknownst to me, she was actually getting really emotional, and it stemmed from this feeling of, oh my God, I now have to really put myself out there. And this fear that if we actually got her marketing working, if people actually started paying attention, she'd get this influx of clients and she wouldn't be able to cope. That's basically where it all sort of stemmed from, and that the wrong people would come to her and that she wouldn't be able to handle it. And I sat there listening to her thinking, wow, because on one hand she's telling me that she wants to be wildly successful financially, abundantly, like, magnetically, she wants to be really, really successful. But then on the other hand, she's scared of the very thing that would get her there. And so she wants the destination, but she's slamming on these brakes on the journey to get there. And if you're watching me on video, you'll see, like, I always say it's like a push and pull. Like there's like elastic band, and one part is trying to get you to the end, and then the other part is pulling you back. And in the end, it's just going to snap and nothing's going to work. And I want to be really, really clear that I say this with so much love, because I think so many of us do this. We say we want this massive thing. We write on these vision boards, we manifest it, we journal about it. We have these wildly, like amazing goals that we want to hit. And then when the opportunity to actually go and get it shows up, something in us goes, actually, maybe not. I don't think this is safe. I can't do this. This isn't, or I'm just going to stay in my safety blanket. And that is the gap, the gap between what you say you want and what you actually are willing to do to get it. And it's this gap that it shows up in so many aspects of our lives, especially the clients that I work with, when they have these massive goals, yet they're not willing to, or they get scared to do it because they're like, oh my God, something wrong's going to happen, something bad's going to happen. So I want to talk about the fear of success, because I think it's one of those things that it doesn't really get spoken about enough. And everyone talks about the fear of failure. That one gets loads and loads and loads of airtime. The fear of failing, the fear of not doing what of not achieving what you want. But the fear of success is just as real, and in some ways it's more confusing, because it doesn't make logical sense. It actually doesn't make logical sense to the brain. Like, why would you be scared of something that you say that you want? It doesn't make sense. Logically it doesn't make sense. But success comes with change. And change, even good change, can feel really, really scary. More clients means more responsibility, and more visibility means more people watching. More money means more decisions. And if somewhere deep down you don't fully believe that you can handle all of that, your subconscious will find really, really clever ways to keep you exactly where you are, even when you consciously say that you want more. And it shows up in so many crazy ways. And some examples are things like procrastination, perfectionism, waiting until you feel ready. That's a really big one. I think that's one that we can all relate to. Oh, I'm going to wait until I feel ready, until I do something. Or tweaking the same like if we're talking about content, tweaking the same caption for 3 days instead of just posting it. Or doing all this preparation but never quite getting to the actual thing of doing it. And it's really sneaky. It's really, really sneaky, because it disguises itself as being really sensible. It's very strategic. And, not being ready yet is like this, it's this coping mechanism that we have of like, oh, I'm not ready to do this. I have a friend, who's a musician. And the amount of times that they've said to me, oh, I'm going to release this when is ready. Or, oh no, I'm going to release this when I reach X amount of followers. Or I'm not going to do this until this is 100%, like the sound is 100%. And it used to really bother me because I was like, just release it and see what people think. Like, stop waiting for other people to come in and help you. Like, you can do it. You can do it. You just have to take the risk. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like this like obsession with perfectionism, I've seen like ruin so many people's lives. And it's a really interesting thing to watch, because you will never be fully ready. Like, fully ready doesn't ever exist. The people who are doing the thing, the ones with the business, the followings, the one with like wildly successful businesses or wildly successful careers that you're probably admiring, they weren't ready either. They just went for it. They just did it and they just winged it. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be is most of the time it's a courage gap. And this is honestly the honest truth about manifestation and action together. You know, you believe in both. So this isn't like anti-manifestation, it's pro doing the work alongside it. And I know so many people in the like manifestation space. Tony Robbins talks about this a lot as well. It's like you can have these things on boards, but if you don't, or Joe Dispenza actually talks about this. I actually recently watched a podcast with him as well. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot. You could have a picture of a Porsche on your vision board, but if you're not doing the work to get the Porsche, a Porsche isn't going to magically just appear on your driveway. That's just impossible. The universe rewards you when you do the work. And that is what's important. That is what's important about, having, it comes back to, when we look at like having 10,000 followers on my vision board last year and not hitting it, because I think that story says everything about what this whole episode is about. I believe in manifestation. I believe in vision boards. I believe in getting really, really clear on what you want and holding that vision. But what I've learned the hard way is that a vision board is not a delivery service. Writing something down does not make it arrive. The universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in, it meets you halfway, but you have to actually start walking. You have to meet it halfway. It's not just going to do the work for you. And a lot of women use manifestation as a replacement for action rather than an addition to it. They write the dream life. They say the affirmations, they journal the goals, they have these like big dreams, and then they wait. And when it doesn't come, they decide the manifestation isn't working, rather than asking themselves honestly, like whether they're actually doing the things that would bring it closer. And last year I had the vision board. I was pouring everything into my clients, but not enough into myself. And the goal stayed on the board. But then this year I kept the vision board and I did the work and I showed up on Instagram every single day. I did everything I teach my clients and I didn't make excuses. And the goal came off the board and actually into my life. I stepped into that vision board and it became true. And that's the difference. It's not the vision board. You could make a vision board really easily, but it's the action behind it. It's the consistency, the relentlessness, the like passion to reach that goal. So how to actually close that gap? How do you actually close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be? Because what you say you want and what you are actually willing to do are two different things. And these are the things that have genuinely helped me and the women that I work with be able to close that gap and actually achieve what they want to do and achieve the things that they want to achieve. So first, number one, get really, really honest with yourself about what you're actually scared of. Not the surface level answer, the real one that is underneath it. Because, for instance, my client didn't say, I'm scared of success. She said she was scared of getting the wrong clients. But when we dug into it, what it actually was a fear that she couldn't cope with more. She couldn't cope with being seen more across different platforms. That made her really, really scared. And it was a fear that she enough to hold a bigger business. And that's a very different thing to work on. That's a very different thing to work on. For me, I think last year I was almost so concentrating on all of my other clients and helping them grow that I didn't really take my own business or my own Instagram or my own growth seriously. And I was still getting clients. I was still growing like financially, but my personal brand and actually the platform that I love and use all the time was just very stagnant, and it was bringing me down. So you can ask yourself, you're like, what is the one thing I keep almost doing and then pulling back from, and then go into that on a deeper level. Like, what am I actually scared will happen if I do it? And that's where the real stuff lives. And that's where you can actually delve into, okay, what am I scared of? And this is why having like a strategy, like actually having someone there to help you, right, okay, this is the strategy, this is what we're going to look at, and this is how we sort of like unpick those beliefs. And I do a lot of that in my coaching as well, like teaching you in the art of selling how to really uncover those beliefs and really work through it. So if you are interested in getting more like personalized support with that, you can just message me the word feminine on Instagram. It's just at Chloe Tucker __, and I will send you a short video of like exactly what we go through in coaching inside the art of selling. So number 2 is start doing the scary thing in a real small way. So for instance, if you're scared of visibility, you don't have to go live in front of 10,000 people tomorrow. You can just start with posting a story. You know, write a caption that's a little bit more honest than usual, or show your face when you'd normally just post something that's, you know, like a B-roll or something. You know, take one step towards the visible thing and see what actually happens, because 9 times out of 10, nothing bad happens. And every time nothing bad happens, the fear gets a tiny, tiny, tiny bit smaller. And it's like, this is why sometimes it's really nice to say, for instance, you've got like a sales call coming up. This is why I always say like role play. This is why in the art of selling, we do a lot of this, like role play with us, like, you know, let us practice together, because the more you practice, the more you do it, the more easy it will get to actually just do it. Do you know what I mean? It'll become like a second nature to you. Number 3 is separate your worth from your results. So much of the fear of putting yourself out there comes from having tied your self-worth to how people respond. You know, if I post and nobody engages, that means I'm not good enough. Or if I pitch and they say no, that means I'm not worth it. Or, you know, when your self-worth is sitting in other people's responses, of course you're going to protect it by not putting it at risk. But the work is to uncouple those two things. And you are not your follower count. You are not your conversion rate. You are not your revenue. Those are just results. You know, you are the woman doing the work, and she is worth it regardless of the numbers. And 4, just start today, not next Monday, not when you feel more ready, not when the content is perfect or the website is done. The amount of people that I've spoken to and coached that are like, I can't launch this because my website isn't done, or I can't launch this because I haven't got an Instagram yet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's never stopped me. I actually don't even have a website right now. It's never stopped me. You don't need all these fancy things to get clients and to be able to feel confident. Like they don't marry. You know, they can come once you start actually having the things in place. There will always be a reason to wait. There always will be a reason to wait. And the waiting never makes you more ready. It just makes the gap, this like force with the rubber band, it makes the gap even bigger. So something I have on my vision board actually is something like, I think it says, done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Showing up imperfectly is infinitely better than not showing up at all. And yeah, that really helped me when I was trying to grow my own brand as well, my own personal brand. So yeah, coming back to my gorgeous client, you know, again, you know, she's still working through it. And I'm so proud of her for just naming it on that call, because most people don't. You know, most people just quietly sit there and just go, oh, I'm not going to do anything. It doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it. But if you recognized yourself in any part of her story, or you recognized yourself in a similar way to that story, or in mine, you know that gap between your goals and your actions isn't a character flaw. It's just a signal that there's some fear in the way that needs a bit of attention. But you have to be willing to look at it. And I'm gonna say this with like the kindest way possible. Like, you have to be willing to ask the hard questions, because you can have everything you want. I genuinely believe in that, but you have to actually want it, not just on the vision board, but in your actions, in the things that you show up and do every single day. even when you don't feel like it. You know, there's been so many times this year where I've had days that I just do not feel like posting or creating, but it's part of me. It's a consistency thing that I didn't want to let myself down for. And I hit 10,000 followers by doing the work, not just by wanting it. And I'll hit the next milestone in the same way. And so will you. You know, whether that be you want to hit your next milestone in your own Instagram, or you want to hit your next milestone financially in your business, you want to make 10K months, 20K months, 100K months, whatever it is, you could have that on your vision board. And I think it is important to have a vision board, but don't just rely on that vision board to magically appear in your driveway if it's a Porsche. It's not going to happen. You have to put in the work to get there. So thank you so much for listening. If this resonated with you in any way at all today, please share it with any other woman that you feel might benefit from this. Maybe you feel like there's a friend of yours that's just has this amazing idea, but there's something holding her back. Please let her listen to this. I promise you, and I promise her, and I hope this is giving you some inspiration to just beat the fear, feel the fear, and do it anyway. That's genuinely how we encourage other women to just be able to achieve their dreams, because we absolutely can. It's just having a bit more confidence sometimes and having the steps in place to know what to do. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you next week, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.